moving into our final section of things I wanted to cover in this interview. When you were applying to graduate school the first time, or like, I guess you only did it once probably, right? Like, so a year ago, what do you have any advice for people who are currently in the position you were in terms of like what you found valuable in a graduate education in philosophy? Like, I know we've been able to talk about that very elusively, like in passing, we've mentioned all these boons or strengths or things that we've found valuable in our experiences in the program together. But like, to make it explicit, you know, or one, to make it explicit, but also to generalize it past our own experiences at Stony Brook. What did you find valuable in graduate education? Like, what were you looking for? What helped you make your decision to go to Stony Brook?
Well, I was definitely looking for, well, I actually feel like now that I've been at Stony Brook, I would be a little bit more broad with what I was looking for. I came in with a little bit of a narrow mindset. You know, I want continental school. You know, I'm not doing analytic. I want to study Aristotle, Hegel, and Kant, and that's it. Maybe a few others. And I was just super like just into that, I guess. And after, you know, welcoming some new thought, that's really changed my perspective on a lot of things. And specifically, you know, with this program, the focus is aesthetics. I've come to realize how they all come together just to form the discipline philosophy, and that they're all equally important. So I think what's valuable in a graduate program is that they capture a well-rounded picture of the discipline that you're trying to study, as opposed to having too much of a hyper focus on one distinct area of it. And what makes philosophy so great, in my opinion, is that it is so diverse. I mean, it's kind of infinite content, in my opinion. You can apply it to anything and use it as a tool to study everything. And I think this program does really well with adding a lot of diversity of themes and topics and philosophers from different backgrounds that really help to capture this well-rounded picture of philosophy. And so I would say that was definitely a mindset of mine that changed after coming to this program, and I think in a positive way. And it's also something I think that's just really great about philosophy and what makes it a really wonderful discipline to pursue.
Yeah.
I guess my advice then would be to maybe apply to some schools that maybe will test you a little bit, maybe make you study new philosophers or things that you haven't studied before. You obviously want some of your research interests to line up, but you know, a concentration in aesthetics shouldn't be seen as a negative, but kind of like a new opportunity.
Yeah, and it's a specific aesthetics in particular, at least the way Stony Brook does it, is a fluid concentration that kind of weaves between way more than you would think it does.
Mhm.
Like we talked about
Definitely.
earlier with like high art versus what actually happens when we study aesthetics. Yes. So my last question, what is one thing you wish you had known before beginning graduate school? Like for me, for example, I had this very kind of like formality or formalism to the way that research happens, thinking that to do research or to start writing a book or to write anything, you needed some kind of occasion or feedback or structure external to you to do that. Like you needed an advisor or you needed a classroom setting with formal education. And for me, I realized that no, you just start writing. Like you're already in a graduate program. you just start writing and you send it to somebody and you see what happens. And like, yeah, so like being in the program to where being in a program that encourages you to trust your own work and to trust your own convictions about like in your capacity to discern truth was all really helpful for that. And seeing that as I tried to do these things, as I began to try to do these things and send these ideas to professors, they were very supportive. And it's like, okay, well, I was anxious before, but it's getting positive feedback, so it must be onto something. And I should reevaluate how I was approaching it before, right? So like I just thought that was super helpful. I would love to encourage every incoming student to trust their own work and start writing immediately, without needing a structure. Or like if this is what you want to be doing, maybe spend all of your time writing. Like
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. I definitely had a lot of anxiety with sharing my work with other people at first, especially because I took a gap year before coming here. So my philosophy was a little rusty and my writing was a little rusty. So I was very, very nervous that I was going to write something and turn it in and they were going to be like, this makes no sense. And it just was not going to go over well. But I definitely agree. The feedback is great. And it's definitely unwarranted anxiety for sure. It's important to share your work and to have those discussions with others. Um, I guess I also wish that, mm, I mean, I guess I wish I had known before, like how much just this program as a whole offers, even outside of the classroom. New York is such a great city for philosophy. I mean, you can go to tons of different museums. There are tons of different other programs and classes that you can audit because of the SUNY system, I believe it's called, which was something I didn't really know about before.
is that different from
And
the
just the social,
consortium?
sorry,
Is that different from the consortium?
I don't, I, I don't know exactly. I remember during an orientation via Zoom, Professor Casey said that you can, because you go to the school, you can audit courses at other places like Fordham or what have
Okay.
you, if they are like a state university. And it can be a philosophy course, or he said that someone he knows took like an all immersive Spanish course to get their language out of the way for their PhD program and things like that. So that, New York as just a state to go to school offers a lot. And then also the social aspect of the program. I don't know, I guess that's not really what I wish I knew, but it was something I found while I was there, because I was a little nervous that I would be going to this new place and I would kind of just be cooped up in my apartment the whole time. But it was way, way easier to make friends than I had thought.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a comfort for sure to have that social aspect there. And also to be surrounded by a bunch of people who also love talking about philosophy. That was something I've never really had before. You go out and every single person wants to talk about philosophy and it's really awesome.
Yeah. I coming from Texas and being, you know, it's definitely relatable. It's like once you get into graduate school, you're like, oh, this is the level I can get to when conversations about philosophy, when people actually can follow, um, not hierarchically, like not like it's more sophisticated, but just that it's a different domain of specialization, right? Nobody typically knows the nuances of the ideas you're trying to navigate through unless they're also philosophers. And once you get into that community, it's completely different and you can advance at a different pace.
That's
And
very
learn.
true.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Mhm.
Okay, so any last thoughts? I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. This has been really wonderful. And yeah, I don't know. So I'm only one semester in, but so far I feel like I've already learned so much from this program and it's been a really great experience, and I'm excited, for what's to come in the following years.
Yeah, uh, I am too, because I've got to finish as well. So, yeah, to anybody who, hopefully we see you one day, whoever's watching this. Everybody take care.